women are taking care of business at the 11th Annual Working Women's Conference. Sponsored by Westar, hundreds of women gathered at UT Martin to learn and sharpen their skills in subjects like finance, managing change, and healthy living. Keynote speaker for the event was Tennessee Senator Delores Gresham.
When I was first elected to state representative, now almost 7 years ago, I was so new that I did not realize that the job came with a title. And the title is honorable. Well, the reason that I found out that I had a title is because we started getting all this onslaught of mail into the farm that said, the Honorable Delores Gresham, the Honorable Delores Gresham, the Honorable Delores Gresham. Well, my husband could hardly stand it. So what is this honorable business? So all of a sudden you're the honorable this and the honorable that. He says, well, honorable, what's for supper? So the next thing that happened was that very week after the election, I had my first official event. And that event called for me to be in the reviewing stand at the Veterans Day Parade in Covington. Well, this was really exciting because, you know, there's things that are cool and then there's way cool. This was way cool. Because in my previous life in the Marines, I had been in many, many parades, but I was always with the troops in the parades. I never got to stay up there in the reviewing stand, but this time I got to be in the reviewing stand. This is so great. So off I went, and I came to a fork in the road. I knew that the right fork would take me to the reviewing stand and to the forming area of the parade. And there I was at the fork in the road, and there's this Covington police squad car barring my way. And so I came right up to the squad car and stopped. He got out of the squad car, he came over to the window. I had rolled down the window. He put his elbow on the car, and he said, "Hiya, hon." I said, "Officer, good morning. I am supposed to be," and I explained to where, you know, I needed to be and everything. About that time, he kind of jumped back because I still had the placards on the side of my car that said, you know, State Representative Delores Gresham and all that. And he kind of jumped back and he says, "Oh, yes, ma'am." And so he went and got his car and drove off to the side. But as I passed by him, I thought to myself, "Hun, that has got to be short for honorable." You thought that was funny. But let me tell you why you thought that was funny. Because you can read. This is so simple. This is so simple. You can read. You know that H-O-N in one context is hun. You know that H-O-N in another context is pronounced as honorable. So you knew that. Do you understand that in our society there are people who cannot read and who would not understand that and who cannot laugh because they wouldn't get the joke because they cannot read? Although our economy is currently going through a downturn due to challenges in the housing and credit markets and due to the higher unemployment rates, I believe that the long-term prospects for our state's economy are still good due to our business-friendly economic climate. Tennessee is an ideal place to do business. The new Volkswagen and Hemlock Semiconductor investments attest to that fact. We offer more than great roads and a central location. We offer more than that. We offer a business-friendly state. We have a right-to-work environment, a diverse, dependable, and educated workforce. We are a low-tax state, comparatively. We have a wonderful quality of life and a wealth of technology resources that gives us an edge on competing states. A better educated workforce enhances the state's prospects for a healthier path of economic development. However, in order to draw the kind of jobs that are going to give our citizens that competitive edge in the global economy in the 21st century, We have to provide a world-class education.
Following her address, I had the opportunity to visit with Senator Gresham.
One of the things that I learned in the Marines was that strength, honor, integrity is not gender specific. And sometimes that's a message that we get. And so I learned in Marines that it was not. And so I thought that it was extremely important that I speak to women here in West Tennessee to let them know as well that they are very, very important in the participation, not only in their communities, but in local and state government.
Share with us your passion for education.
Growing up, in my family, we were not wealthy. There were 7 of us children. I have obviously 6 siblings. My parents knew very, very well that our success in life depended on our education. And so there were very, very high expectations in my family for achievement. In fact, I remember coming home one day with a grade that I knew was not quite optimal. And I wondered whether I'd have a place to sleep tonight. But, and that's an exaggeration, of course, but the fact of the matter was that I was expected to learn. I think that's one of the things that perhaps we're missing in our society, not necessarily in these strong communities in Tennessee, which I've found to be just wonderful places to be, but nonetheless, we have to maintain high expectations. Education is very important. I learned that as a child growing up, and it has stayed with me throughout my career in the Marines and in my work in the community and now in the General Assembly. Education is the key to our economic prosperity. It's the key to our ability to enjoy life.
Have the lottery scholarships been successful?
The lottery scholarship has given a lot of young people an opportunity to go to college. We were very disappointed as we saw over the first 2 or 3 years that many of our young people were not maintaining the grades, could not maintain the standards to stay in college. And we looked back at that and tried to find a way to help our youngsters be more successful. So we adjusted some provisions of the law to enable them to continue with their lottery scholarship grants. So I think that has helped a lot. In the meantime, that was one perspective. The other perspective was we had to take a hard look at what was going on in their preparation for college. And so what we have done now is to try to develop a more rigorous high school curriculum so that when youngsters achieve a high school diploma, what they walk away with is something truly of value that can prepare that they have some assurance that they will be prepared for college work. And so it is never so simple a problem. So we had to look at it from a variety of angles.
Are we really helping by lowering expectations?
It wasn't lowering expectations. It was observing what had happened in that cohort. And so that cohort, however, seems to be maintaining their educational attainment now because they found out they nearly lost it. And so what you nearly lose becomes very valuable. And I think there were other lessons learned there than just saying we lowered standards, because we didn't lower standards. We offered opportunities for these young people to continue their college experience.
What do we have to do to improve education in Tennessee?
We have it as our first priority. This administration, this General Assembly, and the General Assemblies, at least since I have served, put education first. It is my firm belief that if we budget for it first, approve that budget, pass that budget for education, and take it off the table, it is done. We have done what we are supposed to do. We have put education first. Then we move on to our other priorities. Education is either first or it's not. So I believe that is one procedural way and it's not only procedural. Procedural might make you think it's not substantive, but it is indeed substantive, that we take it off the table, we don't hold it hostage in much of the political maneuverings that go on during the waning hours of a General Assembly. So I think if we put our money where our mouth is, we will take and budget for education first, get it off the table, and move on to other things.
So how do you handle other people's list of priorities?
What makes life so easy is that every one of us has the same goal, and that is to produce a world-class education system in Tennessee. So whether you have a D after your name or an R after your name, the goal is still the same. The approach to that goal may differ, but those are things we can work out. But we all want the same thing. Life is much easier when you're working for the same goal.
How about this current economy? A lot of people are worried.
I think it's so important not to make the downturn in the economy a self-fulfilling prophecy. I had an opportunity to speak to some business leaders in an informal luncheon recently. And as we went around the table, the moderator asked everyone there to say something about what was going on in their particular business. And so they did, and they all were very, very negative. And I could understand why, because of what was happening. And I had to say, at the end of the roundtable discussion, don't let it be where you're going. Don't allow it to let it be how you think and where you're going. You've got to think opposite of a downturn. You've got to be looking for new opportunities.
Tell us how you feel about Tennessee.
Oh, I love this. And I have to tell you, I love campaigning. I love campaigning. Senate District 26 is Crockett, Fayette, Hardeman, Chester, McNary, Hardin, and Wayne. My husband says it sounds like a tornado warning. But I found out by checking with my dealer on the maintenance of my car what the mileage was that I had covered during the period from mid-June to mid-November during that campaign season. I had put over 20,000 miles on my car just during that period of time, meeting the best people in the world. It was just great. I have just met wonderful, wonderful people in communities that stand out, in communities that need assistance, economic assistance, in communities that have terrific leadership. There are just, I love Tennessee.